Welcome to Deck Analysis and Testing. Today we have a look at Hieratic. Yeah, it's been a while since I made my last video. I've actually been playing a lot of Rush Duels recently, and I may or may not have gotten top 100 in Go Half Fest Stage 2. We don't know for sure yet. Last time I checked the leaderboard, I was in 66th place. So unless like 35 people got ahead of me in the span of half an hour, I'd say I'm pretty safe. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about Hieratics. Contrary to popular belief, Hieratic is not just a middle name of a Link 2 monster. That's crazy, right? Next, you're gonna tell me that Christian Hauki Freibrags has an entire archetype around it? Anyway, Hieratic is a Dragon Xyz deck that likes tributing their own monsters and summons useless Dragon normal monsters, and uses them for Xyz summoning. Historically, the deck is really bad because if you draw the vanilla monsters, you kind of just like sit down and cry. And also you need a specific 2-card combo to even start playing, but like all other problems in Duel Links, why don't we just give them a skill that solves everything? With the new cards and the new skill, the deck is now playable. Yeah, it's still not amazing, but it could be a lot worse, so let's have a look at the deck. Let's start off by looking at the Hieratic monsters themselves. We have one copy of Hieratic Dragon of Tefnuit. This card is pretty much only good going second, so we only play one copy, so we can search it off of our spell if we need it, if we go second. It is a free special summon if your opponent controls a monster, and when tributed, like most other Hieratics, can summon a vanilla from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Next is 3 copies of Su. This card is a level 6, which is really useful, and also has an effect to tribute a Hieratic from hand or field to pop a back row. Really important going second as well. And 1 copy of Nebfet. This card is less good just because it's level 5, but it's still pretty useful to pop monsters going second. It has the same effect as Su, except it pops monsters instead of popping back row. Next is 3 copies of Hieratic Dragon of Esset. This is your main normal summon, and can change all Hieratic monsters' levels to a dragon normal monster you control. So if you have a level 8 Hieratic, like the vanilla spheres, you can change all your monsters to level 8 and then make a rank 8. And also when it's tributed, it has the same effect as the other Hieratics, can summon a vanilla from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And the usual combo you will be doing is going to be normal summoning your asset, tributing it for Su to special summon from your hand, and then you can use the effect to special summon a level 6 vanilla, and then you can make a rank 6 that way. And yeah, forgot to mention Su and the other one, Netfet, has the effect to special summon itself from hand by tributing a Hieratic monster on your field. Next, we will have a look at the 2 vanillas. We're playing a level 6 Dragon Vanilla. It could be technically anything that's a Dragon level 6 normal monster. But this card is historically used because it is a Dark and also a tuner. So before Bishbalkin was banned, people were using this to make Bishbalkin. Theoretically, you can do that, but now you can't because it's, Bishbalkin is banned. And also, it's Dark, which is useful for Levianeer, but we're not playing that even in our expensive version, so it doesn't really matter too much what you're playing in the slot. Also, we were playing 1 copy of the level 8 Hieratic Vanilla. This is not only good as a level 8, it's also a Hieratic monster, because it is useful if you need something to tribute for your Hieratic dragons or for any of your traps. You can tribute this as well, because it is technically a Hieratic. And here's the only non-Hieratic monster, I guess, except for the vanilla, that we are playing in our deck, which is Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which comes in the same deck build box as the other Hieratics in this deck. This card is really important. It's basically a honorary Hieratic monster, and it is your main target to summon from your deck using one of your Xyz monsters. It also has an effect to special summon itself, but you will rarely use this special summon effect. You will be using the second effect to revive a dragon from your graveyard frequently. It is part of your turn 1 combo, and this guy kind of just like sits on your field and you can send it off using your skill after you use the effect to revive something. For the spells, we're playing free Convocation and free Creation. We need 3 of each because the skill works with both of them. Convocation specifically is a really good card. It is basically a 1-card combo. It's kind of technically 1.5 because you need another card to shuffle back, but it's very good. So you always want to open this as as frequently as possible. And Creation is also pretty good for going first and second as well. Going first, you can make the rank 8 that negates targeting effects, and then next turn you can banish it from the graveyard to revive a Hieratic. And going second, you can make the other rank 8 that pops cards on the field and clear cards on the field that way. For the traps, we're playing 1 copy of Reflection, really insane counter trap. They preemptively limited this to 1, which is understandable. I don't think this deck is that good anyway, but it is very annoying if you have multiple Omni Negates, so I could understand this card being limited to 1. It's very searchable, and it's insane if you go first. You can just search it easily with your skill and negate anything. It's like Tachyon Transmigration all over again. And then we have 2 copies of the less good trap, but it's still good, but just less good than an Omni Negate. It's Hieratics Seal of a Banishment. Instead of negating any effect by attributing a Hieratic, it banishes a card on the field, which is still pretty good, but not as good as the Omni Negate. For the extra deck, it's just Hieratics because this is the free-to-play version. We can't really use any of the generic Dragon Xyz monsters that you could otherwise use in the expensive version, which we will go over later. In this version, we're just playing 3 copies of every single Hieratic that you could get. First is the going second rank 8, which is Heliopolis. This card can tribute any number of monsters from your field or hand, and pop the same number of cards on the field. Pretty good going second. And going first, we can make this card instead. Hieratic Sky Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. This card can once per turn negate a effect that targets a card on the field, graveyard, or banishment. And even though it's not really an Omni Negate, it only negates targeting effects, it's still pretty good. And it prevents your opponent from, for example, using a MST to pop your back row before they commit. And Hieratic Dragon King of Atom is really good going first or second. And unfortunately, because of the effect, the effect is to detach 1 material to summon a dragon from your deck and make its attack and defense 0. But it cannot attack, which is really annoying. Usually it's fine because you can just rank it up and make a copy of Gaia, whatever the rank 7 Gaia is, and then you can attack with that. And also it does piercing, but in the free-to-play version we can't do that because it's from a different box. So this is quite annoying, specifically in the free-to-play version. You can't attack with this card after you use the effect. But it's fine. You can still rank up using the Hieratic spell, and then make a rank 8 and then attack with that instead. So it's not completely unplayable, it's just a bit annoying. Okay, let's have a look at the skill. The skill is pretty good, as I said. The only annoying part is that it locks you into only making dragons, so you can't really play the generic rank 6 monsters that you could usually play in Hieratics. But the upside of playing the skill is that it's really good, it's really consistent. It lets you shuffle back a card from your hand, which is good to shuffle back the vanillas, and then search any hieratic spell trap from your deck. So usually you will be adding the search spell, which adds you any hieratic monster, or if you already have combo, you can search any of the traps instead. And the second effect can be used if your opponent has a monster, or if you have a monster in your EMZ. So this allows you to set a hieratic spell trap from your deck by sending a card from your hand or field to the graveyard. This is pretty good going second. If your opponent books one of your monsters, you can send that to the graveyard, or usually if you're going first, you will be sending a 0 attack Metal Dragon. After you use the effect to revive something, you can send this to the graveyard and then set a counter trap, or if you already have it, you can set the other trap as well. And it is pretty good going first. Let's quickly have a look at the expensive version. As always, for most decks and deck build boxes, the expensive version is pretty much similar to the free-to-play version because the deck build box just is so cheap and so small that you can get free copies of every card pretty easily anyway. So the only difference for the expensive version in this case will be the extra deck. So instead of playing just free copies of every single hieratic, we're actually playing good cards. We're playing, first of all, most importantly, 2 Gaia Dragons, because this allows us to rank on top of the Atom to actually let us attack during the turn we use the effect. And also it gives it piercing, which is pretty nice. And also we're playing the Galaxy Photon package. We're playing 1 Cypher Dragon, 1 Full Armor Photon Dragon, and 1 Cypher Blade Dragon. Because while the Hieratic Dragon is pretty good going second, it still needs to tribute a whole bunch of monsters to actually pop cards. And sometimes you just don't have that many cards for you to tribute, so just having the option to go to make the Galaxy Photon stuff instead is a pretty good option. The only downside is that you can't rank it up using the creation on a tomb. You have to get the vanilla out and then use the effect of the asset to change your monsters to level 8. But it's not that difficult anyway. It is usually good turn 3. If you go first and then you set up some monsters on your field, and then during your next turn you can go and use creation to revive the asset, and then find a way to tribute one of your Hieratics, and then revive the level 8 vanilla, and then use the revived asset effect to get a to make your monsters level 8, and then you can go and make the Photon package, and then just pop your opponent's cards and go to lethal. So yeah, let's have a look at the replays. Okay, let's look at the replays. First game, we're going second. This deck is playable, both going first and second. I honestly don't know which you prefer, but probably going first. But going second is not bad either. The deck has multiple ways to actually get rid of cards, using just the in-engine monsters to get rid of monsters in back row, so it's not that big of a deal even if we go second. We're gonna go search a spell, and our opponent will try to crack down our monster, which is fine. We can just go and grab the going second level 6 monster that can special hit summon itself, and then use the effect to grab ourselves the vanilla. And then we can go and pop the crackdown and make a tomb using the monster that we can grab back. And then we can go and get a Darkness Metal Dragon, revive a monster, and then we can go and make a copy of Overlord. And we can tribute the 2 monsters to pop all of our opponent's cards, and then trigger the Tefnuit to grab back a vanilla. You can send a vanilla and set a counter trap because we can't go for lethal this turn. Our opponent has quite a bit of life points, unfortunately, but it's fine. We have to Omni Negate, and that's probably enough. We're gonna pop the opponent's back row. We're gonna combo a bit just before we go to lethal, just because we can. We'll go a tomb again, a tomb effect, and summon a asset creation, revive back the vanilla asset, change our monsters to level 8, make a second copy of a rank 8, this time we're gonna make the new one, and then just punch for lethal. Game 2, let's see what we can do going first. Our opponent is playing Zombie, he's playing Balerdrock, which is a deck that's not very good going second, so let's see what we can do. We opened with the very standard combo. So the standard combo will involve a copy of Asset plus a Sue, and hopefully a creation and a trap. We can go normal summon Asset, tribute it for Sue, get ourselves a level 6 vanilla, go Atom, get Darkness Metal, revive any Hieratic, send Darkness Metal for a trap, and then we can activate the creation, rank up into a Sky Dragon, which is a target negate, and then end turn with 2 set traps. That's 2 interruptions and a target protection. It's, you know, decent, but it should be good enough in this situation. All we need to do is to get rid of the zombie world, and we can pretty much contend with any back row opponent sets. We're gonna go ahead and banish the zombie world during the end phase, and then bring back a Vanilla Spheres. Our opponent will go IDP, it targets a card in the graveyard, which means we can negate with the rank 8. Our opponent will go Lost Wind, but we can negate that as well using the Omni Negate. We can after negating the cards, go and bring back the asset, and then we use the convocation that we top decked, and that will be way more than lethal. Okay, in the third and final game, we're playing the expensive version, but to be fair, I didn't actually use any of the expensive cards in this game specifically, so you might as well pretend that this is the free-to-play version. We're gonna go first. We are having the exact same combo as we did last time. It's again Esetsu Creation plus Trap, and this will get us to the exact same end board as we did last time. And even if we don't open with a spare trap, we can still end on the target negate plus 1 trap, which is less good than 2 traps, but it's still pretty good. The only problem with this deck is that just not really a lot of space for non-engine. So yeah, this deck doesn't really actually care about Book of Eclipse because we can actually tribute stuff face down. So all of our traps still work even if our monsters are face down. The only thing that stops is the negate from the Xyz monster. So as you can see, we can just negate the normal summon effect of Leela and then trigger the asset anyway. Opponent will set 2 and pass. We're gonna go banish one of the set back row during the end phase. Next turn, end phase we get flip backed up and draw a card for free because of Eclipse. And then we have the 1 Xyz to contend with the back row, but it turns out to be nothing anyway, so we can just summon the Sue, pop it, and then just go for lethal.